Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this started. This is Mr. Chris, and you are watching the Biology 30 Shark Dissection tutorial. I have bought these sharks and brought them fresh to the school from Almina Fish Market, and today we're going to take a look at what they are like inside of us. Now, when you come to class, you will find that you will have your shark on a garbage bag, as you can see here. You will also have a number of tools with you. Like me, you will be wearing a lab coat because this is messy. You do not want to get any pieces of shark on your school uniform, both because they smell and they are difficult to remove. Also, of course, there's the health safety hazards for which we will be taking all the precautions necessary. So, in terms of safety equipment, we will have both the lab coats as well as your regular latex gloves. Now, you guys are going to put 2 gloves on. I'm only going to put 1 on for now so that I can manipulate the webcam if I need to show you something with my other hand. These gloves should stay on all the time when you are touching your tools or when you are touching the shark. Obviously, safety hazards, you don't want to get this stuff stuck on you, as I said before. Other things that you are going to have your usual scalpels, which can be used for cutting. You're going to have a pair of scissors, several bent probes, have the bend in them, as well as several straight probes, and a pair of tweezers. Now, we're going to use all of these today in order to open up and manipulate our shark. I am also going to give you a plastic tray because we are going to be removing organs at certain times. We need somewhere to put them so they don't make a mess. Now, if you do have both of your gloves on at any given time and you need to take one of the gloves off, what you should do is you should hook the outside of it, curl underneath the glove, so you're just holding it by the outside and roll it outwards. This way you don't get any shark juices on the inside of the glove. You can use it again, and it's much, much, much quicker than just trying to yank it off one finger at a time. Then you can flip it back inside out when you need to do that. Okay, so the very first thing that we are going to do with our sharks is we need to know what gender our shark is. As we've been studying in Biology 30, today what we are going to focus on, we are going to focus on the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the reproductive system. So we need to know what gender our shark is. Now, the way we do that is we're going to flip it upside down, and you're going to look for something called claspers. Claspers are these 2 little finger-like things that you can see on the web camera or on the document camera right now. The male sharks are the ones that have these claspers. Now, male sharks use these to hold on to the female sharks during reproduction because they are in water and things tend to drift apart in the ocean due to the current. So the male is going to hold on and keep both the male and female shark together with their claspers. So all you do to determine your shark's gender is flip them over, look about 1/3 of the way down the tail, and you'll see the opening at the second layer of fins. If it does have claspers, it's a male. If it does not, it's a female. So we know that this shark is in fact a male. After you have done that, I would like you guys to take a look around and make some observations about your shark. Touching the skin is a very good thing to do. Shark's skin feels very different than most other vertebrates, especially if you go back and forth. And you can feel that even through your latex gloves. Shark's skin, instead of being made up of the cells that we use in our skin, is actually made up of tiny little bones that are very close to their teeth. So as a shark ages, some of its teeth will actually fold back from its mouth and shrink in size and travel all along the skin. This makes their skin very rough. It also makes it very protective and very difficult for other organisms to get through it, which you will notice as soon as you try cutting your shark open. While you're looking over your shark, just be careful around the fins, like the one that I'm holding here. Sometimes they do have spines. The species that I've seen in Abu Dhabi so far have not, but you always want to be careful because you never know. Sharks are very closely related to stingrays. They're the closest cousins to one another. Sharks can have stings as well. So you want to take a look over, look at the tail, make sure that if there are any spines, you have them removed, so check the tails and the fins for those. Once you have done that, you can flip your shark over and we're going to start taking a look inside of it. Now, as I said before, our focus is going to be the nervous and endocrine systems as well as the reproductive system. The nervous system is a bit difficult to see. A big part of that is going to be the brain, which we will do at the very end. Endocrine system, the easiest thing to find is going to be the shark's pancreas. So, you're going to flip your shark up onto its back and start cutting it open. Now, the back fin, the dorsal fin, is going to make it a little bit difficult at first for it to stay flat. Once you have actually cut into the shark, the sides will start to flip open a bit and that will help it balance a little bit better, but just get it the best you can. You probably want one partner to be holding the shark and the other one to be doing the cutting. Now, some general safety again with cutting, because we haven't done any of this since last year, that was really, really tough. When you are cutting open, what you want to do is you always want to cut away from yourself or anyone else. So if I'm holding the shark with my hand at the bottom of the screen, I want to cut away from my hand with the sharp-bladed edge. Reason for this, shark's skin can be very tough, as can any other organic material. If the scalpel splits, you do not want to stab yourself, your lab partner, or anyone else with it. Please keep in mind that there may be more than just our class in the classroom at the time, because we are going to have some of the other students coming around just to take a look as we go through this. There might be elementary, junior high, or your high school peers in here while you are doing the dissection. So make sure you are aware of where everyone is at all times. Now, as I said before, a shark's skin is very, very tough. So what we are going to do, we are going to make our first cut almost right underneath the jaw up here. If you poke along here, you can actually feel the jaw cartilage. Remember that sharks have cartilage, not bone underneath their skin. So we're going to make one cut all the way across here. We are going to make another long cut that goes all the way down their body almost. Another cut across is going to be in the middle of the fins, and we're actually going to cut around the fins as well. And then we are going to make a final lateral cut right at the base. So you can see right where my finger is moving across down there. We are going to make a final cut right above where the claspers are on the male fish. When you're making your first incisions, you'll find if you try and use your scalpel, it's going to be very, very difficult at first. You're probably going to have to cut at it many, many times. So what I would suggest doing instead is use your scissors. You should be able to pinch a little bit of skin right up at the top, and it'll take a couple cuts to do it. But you can make a hole up here much, much quicker than you would with the scalpel. Now, don't be afraid to get into it, okay? You don't want to cut so hard ever that you cut down into the organs. We never want to damage the organs while we're doing a dissection, but we do need to apply force. And take it from experience, if you're too timid about this, it's going to be difficult. Now, in fact, when you're opening up the shark's skin, I know I just used a scalpel right there to try and widen the hole a little bit, but that's about all I'm going to use it for this first level. I'm not going to use it again until we're cutting through the shark's muscle tissue, because the scissors do a much better job at it. They are much faster. And as you can see, we're starting to see the flesh underneath the shark now. As before, always be careful. Scissors can be just as dangerous as scalpels. Don't cut near anyone else's fingers. Because if it slips like it just did there, you're nearby, you're going to stab him in the hand or the face. And that's just not fun. Okay, so you can see I'm shoving my scissors in there pretty well. I'm only even cutting through the first layer of muscle here. I'm not even getting into the abdominal cavity. So don't worry at first about cutting something open that you don't want to. Okay? So we're going to make a long lateral cut down the middle. And you want to get it as straight as possible, but if it's not, don't worry about it. Now you'll notice that I am cleaning off my shark as I go. You are going to get fluids coming out of them that do include feces and urine at some point. This is normal. This is natural when you're cutting an animal open. Just have some paper towel or tissue nearby. Always make sure you have some so that you can clean it up as you go. Now, I have cut all the way down the middle. You need to make one more cut here, one here, one here. So I'm going to start down at the bottom. Now the reason I'm making these cuts down at the bottom is that I want to be able to open up the chest cavity. Apologies, I put a bit of tough connective tissue. You want to be able to open up the chest cavity so that it will be able to open up like a pair of wings. Now, it's not just to be macabre. The reason we want to do that is that's going to make it a lot easier to access the internal organs. Don't try and just hack back and forth with the scissors. Make smooth, solid cuts every time you're cutting into your shark. When you do that, it's going to go much faster than if you try and hack at it. Also, get it as close to the skin as you're cutting as possible. If it's close to the skin, you're going to have less muscle tissue to go through. The less muscle tissue you have to go through, the easier it's going to be, because the muscle tissue we can cut fairly easily with the scalpel. We just want to be cutting the skin with the scissors. If you need to get a bit of a grasp on your skin, you could cut the muscle just right underneath with your scalpel or scissors, and then cut across. You can see it cuts very quickly if you can just get the skin. Now, you can actually notice a little bit here, this part's poking out. What this actually is part of the jawbone, but it's also connected to part of the gill bones that hold the gills out as well. So if that's happening, get your partner to help you readjust it a little bit. This will be a bit tougher for me because I'm doing it on my own.